Hi there, welcome to further news and coverage on the Christine Passey Parker case, as said in recent time, dating back to February 20th, 2024, officially reported that Christine Passey Parker's body was found in the Nevada desert, 12 miles away from where her vehicle was found at Eugene Mountains and close to Mill City. Some of this information has just come out recently. Shout out credit to one of the key viewers on my channel that did come across this information and passed it on. I just wanted to present it to you first of all, if you're new to this channel, new to this case, as a quick catch up as to why we're talking about it right now, and the fact that further details have come out and other articles have appeared. I'm going to be reading them today, analysing them, giving you my thoughts, whether I agree on what's said or not, because there have been some suggestions or assumptions made that Christine Passey Parker committed suicide, right? What, just because of mental health? Yeah, we're going to get in that today, because I just think at this moment in time, considering not much information has come out in full, and that's because it's all fresh and the family are, upset and everything with what's going on, it's going to take time, right? As with the autopsy report, that is still unknown at this moment in time. But if there's ever any updates, I'll always cover videos on this case and such as other ones out there, okay? I can also look back on the maps today to reveal to you roughly the location of where Christine was found. And to be honest, based off what I did last night, I wasn't that far off in terms of the points of views and the distance, okay? So we're going to try and tie it all in together. For those that are currently watching right now in this live premiere, welcome. Feel free to share your thoughts, opinions, discussions about the case, about the information and articles. If you pick up on any misinformation, any BS, feel free to address it down below in the comment section of the articles we're looking at today. If you're in a situation where you may have more information, true information about this case, and you can, and if you want, feel free to share it in the live chat or more so in the comment section down below so everybody can check it, read it, and those on catch up. Speaking of which, those who are also on catch up, let me know your thoughts down below. Anyone can, to be honest, and if you've got questions too, leave comments down below under this video. It'll help with the engagement, and it'll also help spread awareness and understanding of this case and the recent breaking news. If you are interested in my recent coverage on the Christine Passey Parker case, an in-depth map analysis, make sure to click the top right corner of the screen, I symbol, click on that, and you'll find a video, and maybe the odd other one in relation to, let's say, the Idaho 4 case, which I've covered in recent time. So I'd say we've been pretty full on, and there's been some heavy news in recent time. It's good for people to have stuck around and, been able to watch through most of the videos and show a form of patience and understanding, because when it does get heavy and full on, sometimes it can be hard to focus, but people seem to have it under control, which is good to see. Also, before we go any further, down below in the comment section, you'll also find a pinned comment by me if you wish to check that out. Some various links, as you'll be aware of by now. And in addition, shout out to Cleo last night for her support with the gifted memberships. That was very good of her. Cleo has been very supportive in recent time, and here and there skeptical, of course, as well in the background. Okay, so hopefully everyone's all here. We're going to get straight on into it. As for the comments of the last video that I did, we don't really need to refer to them because I did respond back to a couple like last night or this morning. There was one comment that did pop up of a person complaining. From the profile picture, it appeared to be a woman, a female, maybe in her late 50s with grey hair, unless it's a fake profile. Nevertheless, they were complaining about the video, the length, that it was too long, etc. And they started going off on a bit of a rant and coming out with all different ideas, outcomes as to what really happened with Christine Passey Parker and having a falling out with her husband and all of that. Has it been proven? Is there any evidence at this moment in time? No. So I don't know where that individual's going, but clearly they don't really show much respect to the dead, okay? I mean, I don't know that commenter online what their family would think of her attitude if it was one of their own that passed away and started complaining or not. Then again, that person in the comment section is the type of person to get triggered when some other stranger criticizes one of their losses. You know, one of those double, hypocrites. But if you want to see reference, we don't need to acknowledge it much here, but you want reference, go back onto my YouTube channel page, community tab section, click on that. You'll find a screenshot provided by me and what they had to say in recent time. And take in mind, feel free to check out the community tab on my channel page here and there, because I do create polls or some kind of post photos. I normally provide updates here and there if there's like a live premiere videos coming up. So you know what to expect, you can prepare better for the future, and maybe you won't miss out on stuff, right? So that all being said and done, let's get into these new details, shocking information regarding Christine Passey Parker. The title of the first article reads, "Body of missing Montpellier woman found, Christine Passey Parker's family ask for privacy." Now this was by Seth Ratliff, posted February 26th, 2024, so most recently, and it's by Local News 8. So this is an official news media outlet. It'll be interesting to compare, contrast to what's said here to some of these other weird websites and articles, and we'll get to them later. Let's begin reading this one. Pershing County, Nevada. Now this is within the area, right, where the body of a missing woman out of Bear Lake County has been found in Pershing County, Nevada. Now I can show you the location of it on Google Earth later on, so make sure to stick around for that. But to highlight here, when you type in Pershing County, what you get is a big perimeter, right, of the area, which includes Eugene Mountains, which includes Mill City, Lemley, I believe, and some other places, including part of the Dwight D. Eisenhower Highway. Basically, the whole area, what we've looked at recently, okay? It was credit to, I think, Lambro, or somebody like that, on my channel that left a comment saying, yes, Pershing County, Nevada, but it was near to Mill City, right? So that's kind of like south of Eugene Mountains, okay? So it was good of her to provide that extra detail, because I'm not quite sure if it's mentioned to that extent here. So that's why I wanted to add on extra information as we go along. It says, the body of Christine Passey Parker was found in Pershing County, yes, Nevada. Local News 8 confirmed. Information with the Lander and Pershing County Sheriff's Office. Now, I don't know if it will mention it or not, but one extra thing I need to add on in, which Lambro mentioned, was, yes, Christine's body was found near to Mill City, and her body was found on land owned by a landowner, I guess like a parcel of land. Now, was that land farming related, or was it like just bare, sparse, empty, uninhabited, and that the landowner didn't even live within the area? I'm not quite sure to that extent, but it kind of puts into perspective of, where she was found. Let's go down. It says, according to Pershing County Sheriff's Office, they received a call on February 20th, 2024 from a concerned resident who had come across a human skeleton near Mill City, Nevada. Okay, so it does actually mention the exact details, which is good to see. So this ties in line with what Lambro was saying when referencing Local 8 News. That's good to know. So we'll be able to do the map analysis shortly and pinpoint it roughly. Okay, so when it says from a concerned resident, that would mean a person that lives within the area, right? Now, was that resident the owner of the land in which her body was found on? Or was it a resident elsewhere that was passing on by, maybe walking about? We'll definitely need to look on the maps there to see if there's any trailers, any houses or buildings within the area, right? With it saying near Mill City, yeah, people can live in Mill City even if it's a low population. They may have been out on a morning walk or a drive, an evening one, whatever. And on February 20th, they then stumbled across her body. Maybe if the resident had a dog, let's just say, maybe the dog notified the resident about what was found and walked up to her and realised, oh, yeah. But I guess the interesting part is how it mentions here, coming across a human skeleton. Now, as bad as it sounds, it's what you would expect, right? From, 6th of August 2023 up to February 20th, 2024, the body decomposing, etc. I mean, I don't know if I'm correct in saying, I guess, was it a full skeletal remains? Full skeletal body of Christine? The other interesting thing to highlight, when we look at some of the other news articles, it seemed like it was worded as if she was recognisable from her being found on the ground. But when you read it here, it's saying skeletal remains, which skeletal body, you wouldn't be able to identify if it was Christine or not at that point. You'd have to take her in and, do the testing and stuff to identify who it really is. So I just wanted to throw that out there in advance for the later articles, just in case there's any misinformation or, inconsistencies with info, right? So a human skeleton which was to be recognised and identified and confirmed to be Christine Passey Parker. Pershing County deputies found human skeletal remains and took over the coroner investigation. Right, so because it says human skeletal remains, that would mean not the full body. So was wildlife responsible for taking some bones away and spreading it out there? Similar to in recent time in Nevada, once again, Nevada again, in the desert area of Frenchman Mountains, east of Las Vegas, in which skeletal remains, it was worded as human remains, which was a skull and some bones found out there, east of Las Vegas. So a similar situation with Christine Passey Parker. It would mean that the person has been there for some time for decomposition to take place, but it also means for both situations and cases that likely wildlife played a role and responsibility in disposing of some of the human remains by spreading them out, like an animal coming across, finding a bone which is of the human and taking it away wherever. It happens, that's nature. Luckily enough, there was enough remains available to be identified and report back to confirm it's Christine. It also puts in perspective with this situation of Christine, her skeletal remains, there must have been more bones there compared to the Frenchman Mountains body found, because that one still hasn't been identified yet. But here, from February 20th up to now, within a space of 7-8 days or so, roughly speaking, they've come to a conclusion quickly. So there must have been enough evidence there to work with. Now, moving on. The scene was documented and searched extensively in an attempt to find any reason or evidence as to why a human skeleton would be in such a remote area of Pershing County. So yes, we've looked at the area as a whole, roughly speaking, northeast, southwest, and it was mainly remote and desolate, quiet. But if we're saying it's near to Mill City, it wouldn't be that remote, right? If you were going north or if you was going west, that is more desolate. You're going towards more mountains and more flat land. If you were going south, east or so, that's going towards some kind of civilization. So where the body was found, not as remote as you would think, depending how far away from Mill City exactly, okay? It says, through X-ray and dental records, a medical examiner was able to identify the remains as Christine Parker. Parker's family released the statement on Facebook. We've read that. It says in quotes, It's with heavy hearts that we announce Christine has passed away. Thank you to everyone for the post sharing, sending love prayers, helping with our search. Although this isn't the outcome we wanted, we will now bring Christine home, and also they asked for respect of privacy at this moment in time, of course. It says Christine initially was last seen Sunday, August 6th, 2023, around 4:30 p.m. in Battle Mountains, Nevada. Her Tacoma truck was found 9 days later in the Eugene Mountains, which was 15th of August, in which the hunter came across. That's why it was officially worded as. Anything else to highlight here? It does miss out about the situation of 4:30 p.m. in which Christine was in Battle Mountains, Nevada in a motel trying to book a room, but her card was declined. She made a call to her husband about being picked up and helped, but by then she already left the area, so she was long gone by then and supposedly headed to Eugene Mountains, got her vehicle stuck there, exited, and then started walking off, which just so happened to be, from the looks of it, towards Mill City within Pershing County, the whole area. Says the family has asked for privacy. Yeah. The case remains open and under investigation for Pershing County Sheriff's Office. What's this? Original, Bear Lake, Idaho. Body of a missing woman out of Bear Lake County has been found according to family. Christine, okay. Maybe this is like the original news. Right, okay. Yeah, as of yet, no information of the cause of death. Local News 8 will update this story when more information becomes available. And of course, on my channel, I will provide updates in the future if anything does come out. Now, with that being said and done, we probably should move on to the next article, this one. Luckily, we're still in reader mode. I can't remember what the name of this article is. It's called Sarkarim Exam. Sounds like a very dodgy website, but let's just read it anyway to see if it correlates to what we've already read out from the official report. Christine Passey Parker found dead. What happened to Christine Passey? Right, so there's an image there. News. It's with profound sorrow that we convey the distressing news of the finding of Christine Passey Parker's deceased body. The close-knit Idaho community had held onto the hope of a more positive resolution during the extensive months of searching for Christine Passey Parker. Destiny unfolded differently in this piece. We'll explore the details surrounding her unfortunate passing and the lingering unanswered queries. I mean, let's just slow down a bit first of all. Why are they referring to the close-knit Idaho community if this was all in Nevada and the searches took place in Nevada? Are we referring to Idaho because that's where Christine Passey Parker comes from, originates, or the family? Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm unsure about that. If anyone can answer it down below, that'll be appreciated. It said out of Bear County. Is Bear County in Idaho? If so, then it would make sense. If not, well then this information is wrong. But that aside, the bit where it says things unfolded differently, exploring details around the passing and the lingering queries. I wouldn't say the lingering because, you know, upon just finding out now as to her passing and why or how, it's only been a few days. So I think a few people on this article are a bit impatient, but let's just read. The discovery of Passey Parker. In a surprising twist, the lifeless body of Christine Passey Parker was discovered in Nevada. Why the glorifying it? Do you know when people use certain words? It's unnecessary. The authorities have not disclosed the precise cause of her death. Well, that's because they simply haven't, figured it out yet, or at least of when I last covered the video. There is a pending autopsy report, yes. Speculation surrounds possibility that Christine Passey Parker might have taken her own life, with suggestions pointing to her ongoing battle with mental health issues following a previous brain injury. The official determination of her cause of death is still pending confirmation. Now, of course, when it comes to cause of death, everything can be on the table, different possibilities and connections, of course. But in my opinion, at this moment in time, I don't think it was suicide, or at least planned suicide, okay? There is a possibility that because of the mental health bandwagon, people like to be trendy and make links and assume that just because someone is or has mental health problems. Maybe if a person has depression, then it instantly means that they're suicidal. That is complete bollocks, okay? There's a range of different people will have a range of different symptoms and will be overlapping with one another. Others will be pretty straight, clear cut. There'll be some people out there that have depression and have suicidal thoughts. And then there's others that have depression but absolutely no suicidal thoughts. I know because I've seen people like that already, okay, in real life. So I don't like the way how it's worded here, to be honest. It's turning into a bit of a Kenny Veach situation, if I be honest with you. Now, before coming across these articles, it was Susan Veach, sister-in-law to Kenny Veach, a completely different case of a missing person, that recently said and highlighted. But how it was worded by Susan is that Christine Passey Parker did commit suicide. But there's no proof of that at this moment in time. Maybe it was more so worded by her as possibly suicide. But considering we know about Kenny Veach and his supposed mental health, we don't agree with the suicide there. We say that's just a cover-up or it's just a go-to excuse. Isn't that right, Susan? So could we apply that here with Christine Passey Parker? Maybe, maybe not. But let's just continue reading to see what else is mentioned. Investigation, identification. Following a preliminary investigation, Nevada police have commenced a possible suicide inquiry, giving the absence of signs of foul play or external involvement. So I guess formal procedures, even if it is wrong. Identification of the deceased, confirmed as Christine Passey Parker, was facilitated through a distinctive tattoo on her back and a minor scar on her shoulder from a previous ailment. Tara Humphreys, a close acquaintance, conveyed her grief and lauded Christine Passey Parker for her selflessness and kindness. Right, so this is what I was mentioning here about the identification part. How can you identify skeletal remains of Christine Passey Parker through tattoos and a scar? Tattoos and scars tend to be surface level, evidence, surface level DNA, whatever you want to call it. It's on your skin. It's not within your body. Scars, literal scars, what you get on your body, which are visual, right, aren't connected to the bone. I mean, yeah, you can have fractures, you can have sprains, you can break bones and stuff where when someone does an autopsy of you, they may see those bones and they see the cracks, they see the damage. Yeah, that's completely different to scars. Scars and tattoos are surface level only. And considering that the official police report and news coverage, Local News 8, said skeletal remains, bones, not to do with skin, not to do with that, not to do with half decomposing, but pure skeletal remains in which dental records and testing, DNA, to come to the conclusion and link it to that of Christine Passey Parker. They had to go further with it. They didn't have the opportunity to look at her body and her skin and her tattoos and scars. No, because that wasn't there at the time because she decomposed. So in a way, depending how this has been worded, if that's what they're getting across, they've got it wrong. Misinformation from the looks of it. Okay? Not a good start. Missing person case and disappearance. On August 6, 2023, Christine Passey Parker reported missing after disappearing from Montpelier. Last known sighting of her was on the same day in Battle Mountain area, Nevada. A week following her disappearance, authorities located her 2011 charcoal grey Toyota Tacoma pickup truck with registration number in Pershing County outside of Limley, Nevada. Right, this is terrible, okay? Not even mentioning in depth about Battle Mountain, Nevada as to why she was there or the 4:30 p.m. timestamp of when she was last seen. Not even mentioning that there, which is pathetic. Not even mentioning about the dogs. We've not seen any articles that mention about her having dogs or them still being missing. So What the hell's going on there? That's a bit weird. And that applies to both articles up to now. Nothing mentioned about the motel booking a room and, it's been denied because of the card not working. Nothing mentioned there about this. Nothing mentioned about Eugene Mountains, which is a very important place as to where a vehicle was discarded, found, abandoned, and her card was found near to the vehicle. Why hasn't no articles mentioned that yet? That seems a bit weird, right? Where's the detail? Considering these are paragraphs, it's lacking, right? Anyway, that aside, it says Christine Passey Parker, a wife, mother, grandmother, faced mental health struggles stemming from a traumatic brain injury in the past. A resident of Montpellier for an extended period, she was 55 years old at the time of her passing. Physical descriptions characterised her as a white female with blonde hair, blue eyes, standing at 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighing between 150 to 160 pounds. Okay. Now, mentions about mental health, but it doesn't go into the descriptions, the symptoms of what she would be like if she was off her medication. Now, I have an idea because the family or friends of Christine Passey Parker reached out to me during that time of when we did that live premiere, and they left comments, they answered and cleared up questions. So I know exactly, some of the side effects Christine has gone through in the past, which could have applied once again. I guess we'll talk about it now before I forget. But Christine Passey Parker, mental health, taking medication to not cure, but to help reduce certain symptoms with time. For unfortunately with Christine Passey Parker, at times in the past, she was off her medication, she got side effects, people witnessed it themselves. What was that examples of? Well, off medication, sometimes Christine could get confused or panic, forget, issues with memory, recollection, maybe trouble with phoning, calling people, reaching out in that sense, remembering phone numbers, not able to, very trustworthy of people and maybe a bit over-friendly, but in a slightly erratic way, not quite thinking clearly, not quite thinking straight, panic of the slight change of something, and confused at times, confused thoughts, not quite thinking clearly. So you throw that all together with Christine being in an area whether she's familiar with or just a place she doesn't visit that often and wondering, why am I here? And then panicking because of that, then having a card decline, so not being able to have a room to stay for the night, that lack of stability, security, and having to, sleep on the streets or sleep in a car, maybe leading to panicking because of that and fleeing the area, not quite thinking straight. You get the idea of the side effects and symptoms. Was anything mentioned about depression? No. Did the family members ever mention depression? No. Okay? Let's move on. It says, the departure of Christine Passey Parker has created a void among those who knew her. As we await further information from authorities regarding the cause of death, let us remember her as a vibrant community member and acknowledge the love and support she generously provided to those in her circle. Our thoughts and prayers with her family and friends during this challenging time. May Christine Passey Parker's legacy endure through the cherished memories she left with those lives she touched. Right, anything else here? What is the progress of the inquiry into the demise of Christine Parker? Presently, the police are awaiting findings of autopsy report to establish cause of death accurately. Suspicion of foul play. No evidence pointing to foul play or the involvement of another individual of her demise at this moment. Right. But what about her dogs? Why is there nothing mentioned there? What else? Did Christine Passey Parker experience challenges with mental health in the past? Indeed, she grappled with mental health issues stemming from traumatic brain injury. Right, so you're putting words into Christine's mouth or the family's experiences. This article is responding back saying, yes, Christine Passey Parker experienced issues with her mental health due to a past injury, and that's all you say. But you're putting words into the mouths of the case by stating or highlighting possibilities of suicide, suicidal thoughts. That's never been mentioned within the case. That's never been mentioned by the family, at least publicly speaking. So I think someone's jumping to conclusions here. Disappointing article, if I be honest with you. Now, moving on this one, let's get rid of these dodgy things. Look at those trackers, naughty. Where's reader mode? Right, much better. What's this one? Malang Post. Is that in Asia? Malang? I don't know. It says, community mourns as Idaho woman found deceased in Nevada. Search ends in sorrow. And this was by Jamie Cartwright 1 day ago. Photo there, kind of similar to the last one. Doesn't seem as long, this. Community of Idaho has been engulfed in sorrow following the discovery of Christine Passey Parker's body. Right, so I guess that's where family, her, originate from. The community there. Sad to see what's happened and the outcome. And there's travelling on down, even in the past, to Las Vegas at a time of when they thought there was sightings of it. So distance has been covered, time has been exhumed, energy has been put in, and for the outcome, for some or for most, heartbreaking. Right, so it says, bringing a harrowing conclusion to the extensive search that began months ago, many months, in 2023. It was a discovery no one anticipated. And that's true because most people were thinking that she would be alive, hitchhiking elsewhere. Those reported sightings elsewhere was reinforcing that, but in the end, wasn't the case. It says here, besides her being alive, they were extinguished, those thoughts, by the grim news reality of her demise. The circumstances that led to this tragic outcome have since become a point of significant concern and investigation. It says here, Christine Passey Parker was located in Nevada, not far from where her journey began. It is with profound regret that we report she was found deceased. Law enforcement agencies involved have yet to determine the definitive cause of death as they await results of autopsy. Speculation has arisen, pointing towards potential suicide, which is believed to be related to the mental health struggles she faced, sustaining a brain injury. Nevertheless, an official statement regarding the cause of her passing remains forthcoming. Right, so these articles are consistent with the unknown and awaiting an autopsy report, but two out of the 3 articles, the official one didn't, I don't think, but these other 2 are going in, really in on the possible suicide. Now, actually, I don't know if the first, I'm not quite sure if the first one mentioned suicide or not. I can't remember now. We can always rewind back or so afterwards, but I'll do the discussion very shortly, so don't go anywhere there. Speculation, right? So basically, if Christine Passey Parker didn't have any mental health issues or struggles from the past or present, then no, suicide off the table. You see how people jump about just like that. Wow. Anyway, the details surrounding the discovery of Parker's body indicates that she was identified by distinguishing features, including a tattoo on her back and a small scar on her shoulder. Nevada police, after conducting preliminary investigations, treating her death as possible suicide with no current evidence to suggest foul play. But where's the evidence to suggest suicide? There isn't any, right? So foul play could still be on the table. You never know if something else is found in the future. Let's just be fair. Now, why is this article once again saying distinguishable features from the body found? A tattoo on her back and a small scar on her shoulder. I thought this said skeletal remains. Surely, from the 6th of August 2023 up to February 20th, 2024, isn't that more than enough time for full decomposition of a body? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The only other possibility I could think of is during winter time in Nevada, if it got a bit cold and it preserved her body, it slowed down the process of, decomposition. Am I correct in saying that? Because at least from what some locals have said, near to or within, where is it now? Oh, I forgot the name of the place within Nevada. You know where the Saddle Sore Bar is? Montello. Bloody hell, I don't know why I forgot that. Montello, Nevada. Okay, away from the area of what we're looking at today, but it's in Nevada, right? And most people will experience somewhat of the same weather at the time. Winter time or not. Okay? And from what locals have said there wasn't much snow. It wasn't as bad, nowhere near, compared to previous years. So let me know your thoughts in the chat right now. Was Christine's body full skeletal remains or half skeletal remains still in decomposition with skin and stuff visible under the back and shoulder. Because I just can't imagine a tattoo and a scar being visible on her after that length of time out there in the desert, right? I think it's BS. Anyway, moving on. And actually, one other thing I wanted to look at here. It says Christine Passey Parker was located in Nevada, not far from where her journey began. That's actually quite some distance. Right, they've got this wrong. Plank. Battle Mountain, Nevada, going down the Dwight D. Eisenhower Highway, getting to Eugene Mountains by vehicle, then getting out and then walking somewhat south, close to Mill City. That's quite some distance and time. It's not just a close little journey. What a load of rubbish that is. Anyway, moving on. Once again, mentions Tara Humphreys, close acquaintance of Christine Passey Parker's, expressed her grief, in quotes, "My heart is heavy to have to share this. Thank you to everyone who shared these posts, hung flyers, checked in, kept my Bear Lake family and us in your hearts and prayers. She fondly remembered Parker as an amazing, selfless, giving and loving soul." Okay. Parker was last seen alive on August 6th of the previous year, 2023, departing from her residence in Montpelier a week following her disappearance. Her vehicle, charcoal Tacoma pickup registration number, found abandoned in Pershing County near Lumley, Nevada. Uh-oh, facepalm. Give me a second to recuperate. Once again, lacking detail. Okay, Montpelier. Nothing to mention about Battle Mountain, even though it was briefly talked about earlier on. No direct reference to the motel or the card being declined and her calling her husband. Key details excluded. Not good. Okay? This is serious shit. And it's excluding it. Talking about her vehicle was found within Pershing County. Have you seen the area that covers Pershing County? It's not just that. Eugene Mountains. Why has it not included that? That's the key area. Importance. Not here, though. Unfortunate. It says, Parker, beloved wife, mother, grandmother, battling with effects of a traumatic brain injury, led to mental health challenges. Known for a distinctive... Okay, so it mentioned details there again. Christine Parker's passing resonated deeply within a community and amongst those who followed her story. As the investigation continues, further details regarding her untimely death are expected to be shared by authorities. We extend our heartfelt condolences to Parker's family and friends during this challenging time. So let me know your thoughts as to what you think about those articles. At least two of the three wouldn't say worded appropriately, and some of it glorifying the situation with advanced vocabulary, but making it sound like some kind of spooky story, depending on how you interpret it, right? And also the agenda with suicide. What is the agenda with suicide, mental health? Mental health this, mental health that. I think it's gone too overboard with time, okay? Yes, in general, you can say there might be more people nowadays with mental health issues compared to the past. Yet in the past, way back in the past, people had it worse, had it harder in life. World War I, World War II, concentration camps. Yet some of them, some at least, not from World War I though, to this day, are still alive. And they had less mental health issues than people of today do, such as the younger generations. Oh, I broke my nail. I've got PTSD now. Oh, I wasn't touched, but I was touched. I'm going to make false claims now, and I've got depression. I've got anxiety. Oh, I want to use all these quirky key buzzwords and terms and join on into the movements to gain favour, to gain support, and so people feel sorry for me. Oh, I'm going to use mental health in this situation so then people feel sorry for me and are more lenient towards me when I get in trouble. Oh, I'm very sorry. Oh, they put the fake tears. Yeah, cut that stuff, okay? So, you might wonder, how does that link to this situation? I'm talking about the idiocracy of it all, how people just jump on in, right? I've got experience of seeing this type of stuff because I've covered the Kenny Veach case, okay? A person just so happens or supposedly has mental health struggles. Let's say genuine ones. Okay, fair enough. But why are we jumping to the suicide conclusion or suggestion, assumption, when there's no proof, right? Even with Kenny Veach. Oh, Kenny Veach took his gun with him. He had depression. He was talking of suicidal thoughts previously in the past. Yeah, from what the girlfriend said. Only the girlfriend, no one else. So it's lacking in that evidence, lacking in that concrete reinforcement and consistency across wider parties, okay? And even the girlfriend said she thinks, suggests, not even proven, not even with great certainty or confidence. So it's not concrete enough, right? And just because Kenny Veach took the gun with him to go out into the desert doesn't mean suicide, because one, no bullets have been found. No bullet casings. No gun of Kenny's been found. No body of Kenny's been found. No skull with a hole in it has been found of a human, right? So there's no links, there's no evidence there. And in addition, considering Kenny Veach recorded himself on camera going back out there second time round with the gun with him, saying he's got his gun for protection, because the first time round he didn't have it. He felt unprepared, he felt scared, he needed something to defend himself. The fact that he went out there with a gun showed he wanted to be alive. He wanted to stay alive and to protect himself. So what's not stopping him from doing it again on his final hike, supposedly, right? It was more aimed in that direction with reasoning ability than the others, where people just jump onto the trending mental health act. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to mental health, within the last 5-6 years, it's suddenly become popular. But it's always existed, okay? But it only matters now, but it didn't back then. Well, that's typical, isn't it? Anyway, that aside, referring back to Christine Passey Parker, from what family did say, key people who reached out in the live chat at the time of when we were doing coverage in the early days of the case, yes, they said that Christine did have struggles and issues, more so the side effects of her injury and also side effects from not taking medication. So initially, medication prescribed to help her cope and deal with what previously happened in the past. And as for the brain injury, I don't know exactly what it was caused by, whether it be a car crash or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you can, leave a comment down below. But yeah, it caused some serious issues. And with it being a brain injury, it would have affected the state of mind and how, like, the memory, the thoughts, recollection, that was impacted negatively, and even possibly, like the personality of someone. So the examples given that when Christine Passey Parker was off her medication, she was too trustworthy, a bit too friendly, which can make someone vulnerable if they're in the wrong place, wrong time with the wrong person. You believe the best in someone, they take advantage of you. That's one of the vulnerabilities with Christine Passey Parker, where it could have resorted to her being in a compromised situation and it leading to foul play. Even though there's no evidence of that right now, that was up on the table for discussion at the time, okay? And could still apply till this day if further evidence is found in the future to support that idea. But that aside, her being unable to remember things, problems with her thought processing and not quite seeing things or thinking things clearly, right? Panicking, confused thoughts, panicking thoughts, that type of behavior. So it could lead to being in a situation where you don't know what to do, or you don't know why you're there, or you don't know what you're doing. So there's no real plan as to what's going to happen next. It's kind of go with the flow, but kind of in a reckless way, right? You call it absent-minded. I'm not quite sure there, but you can see how one thing led to another. It seems random. Battle Mountain, then suddenly Eugene Mountain, and then suddenly on lower ground near Mill City. Fair bit of distance covered, most of it in vehicle, the rest on foot. Getting a vehicle stuck, okay? This thing, getting a vehicle stuck at Eugene Mountains. Had a phone, could have used it, but I think it was low battery, may have ran dead, possibly. Yes, initially, she did make a call to her husband in Battle Mountain, Nevada, wanting to be helped, picked up. So that was, you can call it responsible, clear thoughts of what to do there. But I guess in the process, the panicking coming on in, the uncertainty, the confused thoughts, which then could have led to her fleeing the area because she was panicking and needed to get out. In her mind, she needed to get out for a better outcome for her, but not quite thinking clearly. And for some reason, going to Eugene Mountains, which could be considered to everybody else as abnormal behavior at that time, but normal to her or maybe just in general of the understanding of knowing what she's gone through, it would be, I don't know about normal, but understandable as to why it seems a bit random and one place to another, one extreme to another, flat ground, somewhat populated to desolate, somewhat isolated, rough, dangerous terrain, one to another, one extreme, and as well, evening time, getting dark, and maybe walking about in the dark. You know, would most people be doing that? Probably not. Would most people leave their phone and card behind when getting out of their car? Probably not. But under her conditions and what she was going through at the time, it would be understandable. So it's about, you know, just understanding the different points of views, perspectives. You can understand Christine Passey Parker without having mental health issues. You can understand her situation and train of thoughts without having been there, okay? You do your map analysis, you do your analysis in general, you pick up on patterns with time, that's enough. And with family assisting with information, that's obviously helped a lot. But as said, not once has suicide ever come up. The only people talking about possible suicide are the people are outsiders outside of the case. Not family members, not friends. None of them. Now, is there a possibility that it could come out that suicide did take place? Yeah, there's still that possibility. As I said, not going to completely diminish or wipe it off, but not been any evidence, not been any reports or claims or mentions of suicide, suicidal tendencies, no suicidal thoughts, nothing from the past, just worrying, panicking, confused, wanting to be helped, okay? And this is probably the key line, right? And even mentioned by the family at the time, on the 6th of August, 4:30 p.m, around that time of when she was last seen, when she made that call to her husband, she directly said she wants to be helped. She needs help. And when you say help, what needs help in? Because she's about to do something bad? About to commit suicide? No, it was more so interpreted as need picking up. Can you pick me up? I want my husband to pick me up. I need help. I want help. Because she doesn't know where she is. And she's confused. And she's been through that before. Maybe part of her conscious mind there is still thinking, oh, it's happening again. Lack of medication. In addition, I'm correct in saying from what family members said, 3 weeks before her going missing, she was off her medication. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I remember that figure. 3 weeks before her going missing, she was off her medication. So long enough already in the process, side effects already in place or building. So that wouldn't have helped in the case. She may have already been on a decline from there on, okay? And obviously longer periods of time spent without medication, it can lead to worse side effects and outcomes, right? So yeah. So for her wanting to be saved, to be picked up, would mean she wasn't planning on committing suicide, right? Normally, when it comes to someone committing suicide, they know what they want, they know what they're doing, they want to die at that moment in time. That's what they want, that's what they choose. Now, maybe there's some exceptions where there's very complex factors come in play where it's not planned or it's not wanted, but it still happens. That can get a bit deep. Yes, you've got assisted suicide where somebody does it on behalf of you if you're not able to do it yourself. So like medical issues, illnesses, which is understandable. Okay, I get that. But like if a person was on a bridge or in a building and they decided to jump off, that's a choice they made at that time. Are they in the right state of mind? Maybe not. But at that moment, they are. That's what they think is the outcome, what's needed. That's what will end their problems, their issues. So that's why they do what they do at that time, okay? There's been some reports or some, media where a person's hung themselves and then halfway through has realised they made the wrong choice and now they're screwed. Sometimes family member or friend has come on in at the time and rescued them, and then the person that attempted suicide realised, damn, I shouldn't have done that, regretting their decision at the time. But maybe a person jumping off a bridge, jumping off a mountain, have they got as much time to think of what they're doing and is it a good or bad idea? Because such as jumping off something and making impact to the ground, that's going to be instant death. Hanging yourself is going to be a slower process, and if done incorrectly, not like the old medieval age executions where you'd be hung and the neck would snap at the time of when you drop in the noose. If it's not done correctly, you will die slowly. Or if you drowned yourself, that could be somewhat slow. Painful, scary, whatever it may be, you got more time to think, more time to regret your decision. But an instant death like that, there's no time of thinking. It's just to put this all into perspective. You're applying it to Christine Passey Parker, who wanted to be saved, wanted to be helped, right? Wanted to be picked up by her husband, her loved one, right? She didn't want to be in the area. She didn't know why she was in that area, let's just say. But it would tie in line with being off medication for a length of time as to why her decision-making was poor. Not that it's her fault, then, in that sense. I know some people could come on in and say, was she supervised? Or why did people let her be off medication for 3 weeks or something? Well, I don't know all the details, so we can't go all in there like a witch hunt at this moment in time. There'll be other factors to take in mind, and maybe they can be answered later, right? But I'm just trying to put into perspective that it seems unlikely that suicide would have happened with Christine Passey Parker, because she didn't come across the type of person to have suicidal thoughts, and there was no claims of that in the past, no attempts made in the past. And in addition to the past, on multiple occasions where she was off her medication and experienced side effects, etc., and needed picking up or saving, not once was suicide on the table there. So why would it be here? You're in the mountains. What's around you, okay? How do you commit suicide in the desert, right? And I think the common one, what people were saying, not with this case, but others, you walk off into the desert, you take a firearm, pull the trigger, and that's it. Other people that may go into a desert, they pass away, could be more accidental. It could be wildlife attacking them. It could be getting bitten by a snake and not being able to be rescued. It could be succumbing to the environments because of the heat, dehydration. It could be going to a cold trap, hot, cold, extreme temperature changes which the body can't adapt to, so it goes into shock, dies, hypothermia or dehydration, whatever. It can happen. Falling off a mountain, falling off a cliff, simply slipping on a rock on flat ground, falling over and banging your head on a rock. Right? Now, if you came across Christine Passey Parker's body early on, fresh, when it wasn't decomposing, if you saw blood somewhere on the body, like from the head or something, and you could see a fracture, you could see a crack, maybe you could come to the conclusion that maybe she banged her head. Or if you saw a hole, you'd say, well, maybe it was a bullet hole. But none of that's been mentioned yet. So what I would actually say is, considering that the bones were taken in, right, and there was x-rays done and dental records confirming it to be Christine Passey Parker, but not yet confirming as to how she died, whilst that's pending, wouldn't that mean there is no obvious indication as to what truly happened to her? An obvious indicator for a cause of death would be a hole in the skull, or, something like that, banging the head or shooting oneself. If that's not visible or clear enough, then how else can a person pass away? Well, dehydration, succumbing to the environment, collapsing, negative side effects between the temperatures, the environment she's in, mixed with her being off medication for a longer length of time, resulting in death, possibly. Obviously, there's many different outcomes, but I guess to better our understanding is to reveal the rough location of where she was actually found. And I can do that on the map right now. And then when looking at that area, we can see what's present, what's around. Is there any opportunity or unfortunate opportunity of a bad outcome for her? Let's head on over right now. Well, here we are. Now, as you can see, most of it still seems the same from the last time we checked, but there is a new marker added on, as you see there, body found near Mill City. Now, this marker isn't definitively in that exact spot as to where her body was found, but it's more so in this direction from the blue marker where I mentioned 12 miles south of Eugene Mountains, which is here, 12 miles away from her car. So it is roughly in this area as to where she was found. Before or after the wash is the big question, right? Now, as for how it's been stated by news media outlets and stuff, they said Pershing County on the official news, I think it was like Local 8 News or so, they did a YouTube video. They actually brought up a map like this and they put a pinpoint marker and almost claimed that's where her body was found. I don't know if that's entirely true, because to be honest, when you type in Pershing County to understand what I was getting at earlier on, and I'll close that down, can you see the sheer size? Yes, Pershing County is the marker there, right? So does that mean that one spot is called Pershing County? No. When I zoom on out, forgetting, the blue like radius, the perimeter, can you see this red line? Let me know. Can you see that red line? Look at the outline of it. Look how much it covers. It covers Rochester. It covers Unionville. It covers Sulphur, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It covers Star Peak. It goes this far down to Lovelock, almost near to Fenley. Never heard of that place, to be honest. It's near Pershing County, covers close to the Pyramid Lake, right? That's quite some distance. To say that Christine Passey Parker has been found in Pershing County is kind of like, well, duh, isn't that obvious, right? It's not exactly clear enough. It's like saying a person has gone missing in, where should we say? A person's gone missing in New York. Their body was found in New York. Wow, that's really definitive and clear cut. Not? What about the exact area, the name of the street, the name of the district, or whatever you call it over there in the US? When it comes to here, yes, Pershing County, police county department operating in the area, taking over because the body's within this place. Was it initially presumed that Christine Passey Parker would be found in this area, though, of Pershing County? Not really. Family thought she was hitchhiking and went elsewhere, Las Vegas or further afar, right? That was originally presumed. But then with time, and in recent time, turned out she wasn't that far from where her vehicle was found abandoned. So, whereas, yes, the area of Eugene Mountains, not all of it, okay? Let's be realistic. Part of Eugene Mountains is within Pershing County. The rest of it, well, some of it, at least, the remaining part isn't, okay? So, most of Eugene Mountains is within Pershing County, okay? Lemley is within Lemley is within Pershing County, the radius of it, the boundary. So it's not clear enough. So it's good that it was mentioned more in depth by Lambro, but also that Local 8 News, that it was near to Mill City. And Mill City is within Pershing County, but it's also within the makeshift radius which I created myself. So let's get rid of this shit off the screen because it's not helpful whatsoever. It won't even let me get off. Get off! There we go. So we focus back into the area that I was talking about. The key details were body found 12 miles from where her vehicle was found. Okay? As for the definitive details, we didn't quite get that. But since close to Mill City down here. Okay? Does it look like a city? No. But is there some kind of residency? I mean, is this like a trailer park? Do people live here full time or temporary? Is it possible that a resident parked up here, living here, one of those trailers, buildings, whatever? Could have been a resident within this area that decided to drive on down that road, which goes underneath the highway, towards Eugene Mountains, or towards that direction, in which that's where she was found, right? Kind of like that marker there as an example placeholder. So what we can do at least to debunk, okay? Christine was not found north, so that's off the table. Christine wasn't found east, so that's off the table. She wasn't found west, that's off the table. Even though I was saying how you had blind spots and, she could be there, no, that wasn't the case. Down here, I did question, didn't I? I said, well, it's close to Lemley, not far from Mill City, so you'd think if Christine was within this area, roughly speaking, south, 12 miles south from Eugene Mountains, then surely it would be before the wash or within the wash, because if it's past that, you're close to the highway, as you see here. And if a body was next to the highway, well, then obviously it would stand out like a sore thumb, so she would have been reported sooner than later. But because it took many months, maybe residents of Lemley or residents of Mill City, an individual that was within the area at the time, maybe walking on through. Maybe they went on a hike over that way towards Eugene Mountains, or at least walking on lower ground, past the wash, and came across her flat out in the desert, let's just say, right? For the length of time it's taken, you'd think Christine would have had to have been either concealed, hidden from the highway, distant from it, or distant from houses of residency, more so concealed by vegetation, but realistically there's no vegetation, so it would have been out in the open. But I guess before the obstacle of the wash, how many people would be coming over this way towards Eugene Mountains? Not as many as those that would be passing on by along the highway and through Lemley. So if you're just before that, within or just before the 12-mile marker south, as I said, it could be just a mile or under before the 12-mile radius cut-off point, before the wash in where she was found, such as here, right? If not, you do have the wash. Falling into it, getting hurt, possibly. The only other thing that I would suggest, and I don't know if it's true or not, as a suggestion, and maybe someone mentioned it recently, a fair point, can't remember who, but is there a chance that Christine, coming from Eugene Mountains as she did, on foot as she did she collapse in the desert, hence why south found on the ground, just like that, exposed to nature, sunlight, decomposition, etc.? Or is there a chance that she tried crossing a part of the wash? Is there any chance that she made it to the road that she came up in the first place, highlighted in red here, to cross that bridge which goes across the wash, as we see there? That crosses the wash. Further on down, it becomes not as accessible. So, if for some reason Christine, coming down the mountains, going across the flat ground, tried crossing a wash, falling on in accidentally, let's just say, or stumbled into it, may have got injured and unable to move, or succumbing to the environment, she passed away. Maybe somehow, I don't know exactly how, but somehow concealed because of being in a wash. You're going into a kind of like a deep spot compared to being on ground level where you'd be easier to see, let's just say. And with time, if there was flooding, rain, filling up the wash, could her remains have been uncovered, unearthed? Or if there was flooding, her remains pushed out of the wash and ended up appearing on the side of the wash on flat ground? Is that a possibility? Just a rough suggestion there, okay? But roughly in this area of Pershing County, but close to Mill City, as we see here. Mill City, likely the part where she passed on through to get to Eugene Mountains. Did she originally attempt on getting out of a vehicle to walk back to Mill City, the highway, because she realised that, oh, well, her vehicle's stuck, so where can she go from there, right? But, she would have had a reason, or at least in her mindset, she had some kind of reason to go to Eugene Mountains, whether it be rational or irrational thinking. But was there a cut-off point in which she realised She suddenly woke up again, consciously wondering, why am I at Eugene Mountains? Then panicking and trying to figure out, how can I get back? Maybe fumbling with the phone, realising that low battery, can't call the husband, so I'll just walk it back. And that's what she did. But in the process, she got caught in an accident. Did she stumble? Did she fall, bang her head? Or did she collapse because of dehydration, because of the weather, the temperatures? She didn't have resources with her. She didn't have food. She didn't have water, so that would have been difficult on her. And we don't know how hydrated she was when she was last seen at 4:30 in Battle Mountain, Nevada. When did she last eat? When did she last drink water? That would have played a role too. And depending on the temperatures on that day and out in the desert area, probably not a suitable place, especially when walking on foot and in her condition. So, we've been near to Mill City, towards the 12-mile marker, south-ish, or slightly southeast. It's mainly flat ground. There's not much opportunity of suicide here, exactly. If you're thinking of pure flat ground, how do you commit suicide? Either you shoot yourself or you just simply stand in the same spot for days upon days until you die of dehydration or hunger, starvation. I don't think Christine would have done that, because from the looks of it, she was already on the move, right? In her mindset, maybe on a mission, but not for the right reasons or practical ones. Upon getting to Eugene Mountains, then deciding, right, I'll walk it then. But the fact that she was going towards Eugene Mountains, where would she have gone from there if her vehicle didn't get stuck? Would she have drove on in a certain direction? Would she have gone north? Would she have gone west? What exactly would have happened, right? Is it because that the vehicle got stuck, it made her wake up and realise, what am I doing? Is it to the same extent as where she became consciously aware but also confused as to why she ended up at Battle Mountain, Nevada earlier on in the day at 4:30 p.m. or so, roughly speaking? And that's what made her decide to make that on-the-spot conscious decision of, I best call my husband. See, what I'm thinking of, whilst Christine may have had mental health issues or experiencing side effects from not taking medication, she was still there with it at certain points. Whilst for most part of it she might have been bad in decision making and maybe confused, there was at moments where there was a shake up where her mind was awoken, her conscious mind, and she realised, I need to get help, I need to take action. The first time in the day, I don't know why I'm in Battle Mountain, I'll call my husband to be picked up and helped. Then fast forward onwards, the panicking, irrational thoughts kicking back on in, deciding to go elsewhere, all over the place, Eugene Mountains, vehicle getting stuck, then that realisation of, oh, I'm stuck, I'm stranded, what do I do? Maybe she was thinking of making another call, but realised the phone wasn't working, so thought, right, all I can do is get out of the vehicle and walk my way back to civilization, to a highway or somewhere I can call on in or get some help. And then maybe in the process of her making that descent back down from the Eugene Mountain area to ground level, going south as we see here, coming across the wash, maybe not quite familiar with the area, could that panic and confusion have kicked in once again? Maybe. Maybe there was a pattern of changes in behaviour throughout the day, consciously aware to irrational thinking and then back and forth, to the inevitable point of maybe being too confused or panicking too much, and in the process injuring herself when trying to get help or trying to get somewhere. It seems though as if she never broke down or if a vehicle never got stuck in Eugene Mountains, she would have carried on driving, and that's the unknown, right? But because that didn't happen, it seemed like she was trying to get help. That's just a possibility, because in terms of the direction of it all, south, it's not far from Mill City. It's not far from the road she probably took to get to Eugene Mountains. So it seems like she's coming back the way she came in the first place, because maybe that realisation kicked on in. But if she did go slightly south instead of southeast, right, away from Mill City but nearby, what she would have missed out on is the crossing here of the bridge, right? If she was further over this way, as that red marker suggests, how do you cross the wash? It's probably a bit more tricky, right? I mean, let's be realistic. It's not too far away from this place of residency or some kind of farm, right? If there's a resident here or some kind of trailers, coordinates down just as an example. If this was the land, okay, or if this was the resident that then went on a walk or notified or saw that Christine was off in the distance, then maybe that's how one thing links with the other, okay? But it was said that she was found on land which was owned by someone, a property owner. Now, at least from looking at this land within this area, it's very sparse and empty before the wash area. I don't see any trailers. I don't see any RVs. I don't see any buildings, houses or farms specifically here. I could be wrong, but at least from what I'm seeing, there's really not much, is there? So taking that into consideration, it could be a parcel of land owned by someone, but that someone may not live in the area, possibly. They may live in a different state or further away. And it just so happens that a resident, someone else, came across that land, primarily came across her skeletal remains. So really, I just can't really see anything. As I said, if we need to do further analysis in the future, we can do so. But just let me know your thoughts here. Hopefully the screen hasn't gone dark. It's just this stupid adaptive display on this phone where it tends to go dark just because of lighting, which is very silly, but I don't think it will affect the recording. Hopefully not. But you see, now, roughly speaking, how much distance is it? Can we do that quickly? From the vehicle, roughly. That'll do. Not that she would have made it in a straight line, but if we're talking about near to Mill City, from Mill City to Eugene Mountains, it's 12 miles. Just before that, if we were saying near to Mill City, it could be about 10 miles, 9 miles. So that could have been the distance she covered. Now, they did say that she was found 12 miles from her vehicle. Now, it depends how far up her vehicle was in the mountains, low down or high up. That would determine whether the 12-mile marker is after the wash or just before, right? So give and tug, give and play, with a bit of leniency, malleable. It can vary from here, after the wash to just before. Either way, equal in being close to Mill City. So I'm thinking it wouldn't have gone past the point of Lasson's Meadows, it would probably been just before, in this area, as you see my markers. That's what I think. Either she had an accident, fell into the wash, somehow injured, hurt herself, maybe, or close to, or she succumbed to the environment. Because, as said, within this area, lower ground, there doesn't appear to be mountains or hills or peaks to the same extent as to up there, right? With it being, oh, for God's sake, why does it do that? With it being lower ground, here or just before the wash, it's more so flat ground. You might get the odd lump or bump in the ground where you could end up jumping off. Worst case scenario, you may sprain or break your ankle if you fall funny. That's not going to lead to suicide. That isn't suicide, okay? Not really. If she was found very close to the mountains, off a peak, you could say she fell off accidentally or she jumped off. You know, suicidal, jumping off something. But 12 miles away from the mountains is flat ground. There are less opportunities to commit suicide here than there is over there, right? Similar to how there might be more opportunities to commit suicide in a city than there is in the middle of nowhere where it's very peaceful and quiet. You might wonder how. Well, if you're in a city, you could run into a car, you could jump off a building, you could get crushed by an elevator, you could get in a fight with someone, you could get in a fight with police and then, you know, act threatening and then get purposely shot because you wanted to die. But if you're in the middle of nowhere, there are less opportunities, there are less methods, right? Completely flat ground. It's like being in a padded cell, okay? And especially if there's no rocks either. What can you really do? Bury your face in the ground and try and suffocate yourself? I don't think so. That's why people say if someone goes off in the desert and they're suicidal, they go with a bullet, one bullet, and a gun. That's how it tends to be. There's been no talk about Christine Passey Parker being in that situation, so that seems kind of off the table at this moment in time. So it makes me believe that it's more accidental / succumbing to the environment within the area, as we've looked at. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully you found this video of use. Feel free to leave comments down below. I can always respond back to them later. Feel free to like and share this video to spread the awareness so more people hear about the story, the outcome of Christine Passey Parker, and these people jumping the gun in assuming that she committed suicide. It seems just a bit jumpy at this moment in time, considering we don't know everything. But what we do know is when it comes to the environment, there are less opportunities out there compared to the mountainous area, right? So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. We'll see what happens in between. Before you do go, make sure to rewind back if you did join this video late. If you joined the live premiere late, make sure to catch up on the first part of this video because it's all very important. Credit to all those that did manage to watch from start to finish. That's good to know. Skeptical is still around in case people are wondering, and things are okay there. And just as important, I did actually upload a video earlier on today. It's to do with Chase Venstre. It's to do with an eye-watering bail fee. If you have not seen that yet, it would be of your interest and it could link to Dylan Rounds. You never know. But for more information and proof of it, catch up on my earlier video. It'll be on my channel page. And if you can't find it, as I said, top right corner of the screen, you click on that eye symbol. You'll find the last video I did on Christine Passey Parker, but you'll also find a video of what I did earlier today on Chase Venstre. So that all being said and done, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye. Good night for now.